Hi, everybody. This is Joanna. Hey, everybody. Pleiadians. Syrians. Arcturians. Galactic Federation. Woo! Just having a conversation with the Galactic Federation and feeling really excited. We're going to talk about birthright. Our birthright to embrace new realities, to embrace the unknown, to embrace all that we thought we were not, worthy of or deserving of. The old versions of us, which were harmonizing and loving and just caring for ourselves, and all of those things that we felt so small on, and believing the little small stories of who we thought we were, or who we were told, or the projections of those that appreciate us living in small experiences. We're ready to step out. We're ready to start creating these new versions of who we are, and how can we design our own reality. And so it was thank you, Star Council and Galactic Federations, honoring all of our paths. And that's really the hard part, because when you're in the midst of, and you're in the thick of all the pain, if you will, of just having to call forward all of the moments of dysfunction that you've moved through, and when you look at your life, kind of in that reflection experience, and to get to that point of gratitude and honor, you've got to process the pain of your normalizing, dysfunction, normalizing, a lifetime where there's been little to no, gentleness and receiving. And you look back, like I'm 52, and I'm really excited about this new, this new realm that I'm stepping into, that I'm creating for myself, having to go through the reflections of the past. And it's all played a great part. Everybody that was a part of the story just allowed me to take that greater reflection. Because when you're in something that you're not happy in, and you understand that there's far more going on that is a detriment to who you are than there is of nourishment of who you are. And then you start to say, okay, well, where did these beliefs start, that I was okay with just taking on, being the empath, just taking on people's projections of, no, you've got to play small so others feel okay around you. And it's going outside of conformity if you start acting in a way that is not like everybody else. And that's okay. They can have those experiences. But as empaths, you tend to take those on, and you tend to play smaller roles when spirit and source and your higher self is saying, no, you're meant to be the person you're meant to be. So let go of those versions. They're not yours. You don't have to internalize their stories and their insecurities. Stand within who you are, own who you are, and create your life. Start designing your life. Start redesigning you. And part of that is to look back and have that reflection. Well, where did that acceptability of being so okay with, taking on the small conformities, right, that we just take on from society, that, divine feminine, and all of the experiences that the disenfranchised go through, of the projections that we place upon, people, the aged, children, and all of that's what we're looking at as a society. And a collective, we're birthing a new collective experience. We're birthing a new collective potential. We're birthing a new collective design. And we must go through those internal processing and reflections. When did I take on this dysfunction of passivity to allow others to treat me with, disrespect and disregard, and continue to take from me, take from my light, and take from, my ideas, and the different ways that being taken advantage of can be done. And then to be made small when you tend to stand up and say something for yourself, and you do speak your truth, and then you're made to feel as if you're the one that's wrong, or you're the one that's crazy. And those types of dysfunctions create a lot of internal chaos, because you're trying to speak that truth, and when you do speak that truth, it's then thrown back at you to derail your sense of self and derail your sense of clarity about who you are. And so those are the types of dysfunctions that we grow up in, and we end up harmonizing and attracting those experiences, because those wounds never get resolved when you're a child. You don't have that level of psyche understanding as a child to say, well, maybe this was how people act like. Just taking on the small experiences to make everybody else feel good, but who's making me feel good? you know. And so those are, you know, as my life story, that's kind of, I'm 52 and I'm entering into this new stage. It's like, okay, well, I'm going to design my life from here on out, and I'm going to actually receive. You know, I'm tired of fixing things for people or feeling as if I'm the balancer, while everybody else is doing whatever they want to do without little consideration to me. And those experiences that just continue and continue and continue and continue. And that's when the voice starts saying, you know, come forward and speak for yourself. No, you're being taken advantage of. So speak forward. Speak your spirit. This is what I deserve now. This is how I'm going to design my life, and I will be received, and I will be cared for, and I will be nourished, and I will be, you know, emulated as the beautiful bouquet of flowers that I really am. And I will speak my truth in an infinite number of ways that I am able to. And growing into that bouquet and that lushness that's the courage. That's that true self-empowerment, where you look at where you've come from. You see the vibrational stories that were played and all the minutiae that you grew from, and all of those that allowed you to keep getting triggered and press out those little friction stories that we play to build that sense of self and that sense of confidence, so that you get to this new point of saying, well, how am I going to design my life right now? What is it that I really truly deserve and desire? And you have to have those moments of reflection and minutia to say, no, this new me is valuable. I am honored. And, you know, these are the bare minimums, dude. Dudettes, everybody else, world, universe. This is who I am now. You know, bring it at this level. Bring it, because I know who I am. And no more mess. No more mess. So how can we design something that's outside the mess, beyond the mess, transcending the mess? What does that look like? So you return to that sense of self. Well, who am I with Source Creator? How can I create that life that's really great for me? I want to be an inspirator. I want to be the one that allows my wisdoms and my intelligence to come forth and really create something. Because I've created so much out of the minutiae of what I've gone through. You know, the healing systems and the books that I've written, and placing myself out there just to share my personal story, because it's something that so many women go through. You know, the infinite number of ways in the homes that we've all grown up in, when we were all just doing our best. But now it's time for all to stand within who we are as spirit creating matter and say, don't we desire something better for our world, where we're more in touch with the symbiosis of creation, with the symbiosis of spirit in all things. When you speak your spirit, it's coming back. When you create those intentions, it's coming back. And how you treat people and how you, you know, in those dysfunctional experiences, that comes back to you as those lessons. It can't help but not to. Your soul will not go through a lifetime where you're in those experiences where you're giving all the time and it never gets brought back to you. The universe will want balance. And so those that have been in those experiences of continually giving and continually fixing and continually harmonizing into a higher standard when nobody else is caring to put in, that's got to be balanced out. And spirit will create those tower moments to pull those people out of those experiences. And the same with those that we're continually taking. They will have their equal tower to make sure that they will awaken and question, how have I been taking advantage of people? Have I been truthful? Have I been taking when I have not given? How can I give more appropriately? How can I be more honest? And so that's the balancing that the universe must have. A soul will not go through an entire lifetime of continually taking. And if they do, then they're choosing to not awaken. They're choosing not to take those lessons. And they will be left in relationships will return back to them as continually taking from them. I mean, it's just energy. It's all energy. So what you put out and the intentions you put out will absolutely come back. They will come back. It's the balancing effect. That's how the soul learns. Are you going to learn how to be of genuine honor and reciprocation of the heart space? And how can you design a world of the heart space? Because that is evolution. That's how the soul evolves, is through the heart. Honoring how you treat people and value yourself, and create the world of that value of you as the spirit, as the creator, as the embodiment of love and the embodiment of, yes, I can do this, and I can show my children that, yes, they can also speak their truth, and they can stand and start to create their dreams from their voice and their spirit. Isn't that what we want? So why would that not be okay for us? as parents, we must lead by divine expression and example. So if we're feeling, you know, stifled, or we're in dysfunctional experiences that hold us back in any way, physically, mentally, emotionally, or energetically, then we're not showing our children it's okay that you need to follow your voice and you need to follow what's going on inside of you. Because if you're not following it, there's going to be more and more tower moments until you're out of that situation that's not serving you. And spirit and source will guide you. And so we're talking about how do you design from all of those reflections. And that's why that daily self-care is so important, to give that time back to yourself, to give those reflections back to yourself and say, let's get to the bottom of that story where I thought that that was okay, that passivity to keep giving to people when I'm receiving nothing in return. And then when you do speak up and say, well, hey, what about me? Where is my soul's path to travel and to explore and to all of those experiences? And then it's made really difficult for you to move outside of that because others don't like their feathers ruffled, or they're not going to receive what they need, and it will hinder what they're getting. And that's when all of those games of evolution start taking place, because that's how people learn and grow. Okay, well, you'll find your way. You know, I'm not there to make it easy for you. You know, we'll work it out. Sort it out. You know, who is there sorting it out for me? You know, but you have to go through that. You have to go through those minutiae of sorting it out, sorting the mess out, you know. And when you just don't ever speak and you just end up keep doing and doing and doing, you end up being absolutely exhausted, and everyone's living their life and doing whatever they want. And then it's time for you to step forward and be your own unique self. And it's like, wait a minute, wait, where are you going? Where do you think you're going? And you're just like, I'm taking a fucking walk. It's like I can go where I want. Hello, you know. But we get those attitudes and we get those, you know, those systems from where we grew up, you know, where women were held in certain roles and, you know, passive portrayers of making peace and keeping, you know, the home in idle, you know, harmony. And okay, so when are our needs met? When is the adventure for the divine feminine, you know, being really explored? You know, so let's explore all divine feminine, all those that are ready to step out of the 9 to 5 experiences of boredom and conformity and role definitions that are no longer serving the galactic and the cosmic and the universal experience of who we are. How is that going to serve us? Can we design a life that doesn't look anything like what we've come from? We can step out and say, okay, well, now I really have to awaken the creativity within me. I've got to wake that up, because it's been so suppressed by, you know, looking after everybody. And that's okay. We can still have balance so that everybody is learning how to grow. Now you understand how to move about life, and you're getting older, and, you know, just start working out in a different way. And the family's having to look at things on the table and work things out in a different way so that everybody's being supported and everybody's being honored, and their voices and their soul paths and their spirituality is being honored and respected, because that is the way of fairness. That's the way of balance, where no one person will have the say over another, and no one soul will be suppressed because of another. We wouldn't do that for our children, and to do that to another partner or a person in a caretaking experience it's not fair and balanced. You know, every person has the right to explore who they are. And so part of my experience was that I'm 52, and I've been kind of alone and single for so long, going through the family transition and going from married to separated and going through divorce and the final stages of divorce. And I've purposely held myself in hermit mode for so long, you know, and having a very, you know, very confined, you know, experience with just Source and I as an intimate experience, and then just my clients and my classes and my sacred travels. It's given me that time to really explore who I am and all of those experiences that I held myself, you know, so, you know, not challenging myself to step out of that comfort zone of the dysfunction, because you get so used to it. You get so used to the dysfunction. And now that I've had, you know, a more refined energy field. You know, where my energy field is the last 6 or 7 months, I've really practiced refined energy field work and inner and outer rebalancing from all of the constant negative, you know, the psychic attacks and the magic attacks and all of those things that my body was clearing and cleansing, the multidimensional damage that was done on me. You know, in those stories of, you know, of victimization and things that many of the collective have been going through. So many stories that I've read from people that have been harmed and their families have been harmed through stories of that kind of experience. And so my heart goes out to everybody because there's no healing available. And that's why I've mentioned in many of my videos that, you know, everything is source and everything is energy. So just allow your body to rebalance in that. Once you've learned the lesson of victimization and you've understood the soul contracts and the Akashic records and all of those energies that we come with in our energy fields, we can then choose to release those karma energies and just release those stories of fear of black and white and light and dark and us and them and all of those experiences. They're just soul experiences that we learn. And unfortunate that the damage is done, because I know how much damage was done to me on a multidimensional level through such experiences, until I had that one channel with Jesus where he said, you know, you're in charge of your consciousness. And that channel inspired me so much to start offering it in as many channels as I can, because I know how people feel when they go through that at a family level and they're trying to bring balance and harmony and light to their children and bring, you know, beautiful energies to the home. And everybody's learning about energy. And so how do we redirect who we are? How do we call in the highest energies? How do we take more direction of love of self and daily self-care so that our bodies are being directed in a positive and focused potential of our now creative experiences, spirit creating matter? And how do we then emulate that to the children so that they're not stuck within old paradigm energies of fear, because they feel everything before we even say anything. So things that are being hidden and things that are not being talked about, the children know it. It's in the field. These children are telepathic and psychic beyond measure. They feel everything in the field. So if the adults are not clearing their field and the adults are not balanced and the adults are not moving in their highest intention of fulfilling their dreams, the children feel all the dysfunction in the fields. And so that inspired me to begin the process of, well, how do we heal the multidimensional bodies when things like this occur? And it really is that core vibration of self-love and beginning at the cellular level. Start clearing out the chakras, and every day spending 15 to 30 minutes just self-love and self-love. And in that self-love process, those stories of when you were a child and the dysfunctions of what you saw as normal and how you behaved so passive to things that were just not okay. And then you become really awakened to the energies that are really, really holding you back in ways that your soul really wants to explore and express. And so, but it's part of our collective growth. There's no, you know, anything that we offer, there's no blame or shame on any of it. It was unfortunate for me, and I still have processing daily on the sadness that it caused me and my family, you know, and the pain that it caused me as a spiritual leader and a teacher, because I felt absolutely, I can feel everything. I feel everything. You know, I'm an empath and a crystal, and I feel everything. And so it was very, very traumatizing for me. And so I'm working through those traumas on a multidimensional level so that I can help the children, and I can help those that have also been harmed through many different types of mental, emotional abuses of, you know, just different types of, you know, the blaming and the shaming and the codependency and the dysfunction that we all go through. And there's so many people that we go through, it's so subtle, you know, the mind games and the emotional games and all the things that are so rampant in our society that's just so normal. The body really needs to be healed. When you start becoming spirit, there's no need to play any type of game when you're living from a full capacity of unconditional love. And there's very few in our society, there's very few in the collective that live from 100% unconditional love, because we've never been taught it. There's very few role models that we all have. What divine feminines that we have are unconditional loving, and that have showed us and been role models to go through the minutia of the density and seen it and felt it and touched it all, And then having to rise up again and saying, yes, I know how to do this at an alchemic level. I know how to process pain. And I know how to show my children how to get in touch with those feelings and process that pain. And then come out on top and alive and say, yeah, I don't have to fall back in fear. I don't have to take somebody else's word over mine. Because that's a part of designing your life. When you become really uncomfortable with who you are and you own that pain and you own the mess, you own whatever mess that's going on, because that mess is a part of what you learn, those shades of gray. And it does feel messy. Nobody wants to sit down and suss it all out because it's painful. And then the ego will say, and then it starts blaming. So sit back and surrender the ego in those moments of family sussing it out, and just come to a higher level and take it from a spiritual level as a family, and say our family needs to go through these changes because we really want to grow as a family. And that family could look different. It could have, mediators. It could have, coaches and counseling. It can have different people involved, because as a community of one, as a higher vibrational community, we all want to assist one another in evolving and transmuting and sussing out and expanding and growing. And so have that be okay, and release any moments that come up where there's blaming and shaming, because then that goes back into those energies of dysfunction and, where those energies don't resolve anything. It just continues the pain, the cycle of pain. And then those people have to walk away and start healing the blame, and healing all that dysfunction again. And then it gets to a point where you just walk away because who wants to stay in pain? Who wants to stay stuck in pain and being blamed all the time and shamed all the time? So we get so comfortable because it's all we've seen it. It's everywhere. The little minor games of pain. So that's when you step out and you redesign yourself. Yes, okay, well, I've gone through that now, and this is what I really want. I'm a spiritual experience of who I am. I want to feel myself as spiritual. I want to feel myself in every moment as a spirit creating. And I'm letting go of those moments where it's been really hard vibrational energies that I'm constantly having to transmute because of the energy and the environment of what's being brought in and what's being, thrown at you, and the stuff that is being transmuted in our collective. So that daily self-care really aligns you in your epicenter of light, clearing and cleansing your space, clearing and cleansing your fields, and then setting out your intention. These are my long-term experiences that I really want to explore. I want to write another book, and I want to be about this, this, and this. And I want to call in these teachings that I've found out about. I want to call in the divine inspiration for divine feminine, and really bring in the wisdoms from the higher vibrational realms and the Galactic Federation and all the sisters from Venus and all the energies that I'm connecting with. I want to bring that a part of my book, or whatever it is that is your experience of learning and growing, and being that leader for you as a spiritual energy, and showing those expressions for you and designing your new reality and how it really feels to bring those energies forward. That's the alchemy. You're bringing forward the parts of you that were so hard and challenged, that were so undervalued, that were so unnourished and disenfranchised. Bring it forward as a part of your offering and to make something out of it. And that's your love of it. That's your redesign of it. Take those painful moments and redesign it into your best and highest strength, and make it something that others can share. Others can be a part of your sharing. Others can be a part of your minutia to make it beautiful and golden, because you are. It was as painful as most of it was. For me, my teams we were saying this morning in my reflection, I was saying, well, why am I feeling like this? And they were saying, because you've had, 52 years of very few people honoring you and giving receipt to you, giving to you. You've been giving for 52 years, giving your light, healing environments, healing people, giving to, and people have taken advantage of you again and again and again. And you've given them the benefit of the doubt because you see the best in them. And then when you do tend to say something, you're then looked at and thrown blame. And that's not okay. It's part of the process, and it's part of my growth. And now it's part of me now going through the minutia of, I don't want to be so hard. So now I'm learning how to be soft again, but also really setting really strong boundaries. And there's absolutely very selectiveness on who I allow in my sacred space, and why I've been alone for so long. Because I wanted that time to say, this is how I want to be treated now. And nobody's going to come in my space that is not of the value and the energy and the vibration that I so choose. Because damn it, I deserve it. 52 years. I want to be served. And I will be. I'm a hard, 24/7. My life is 24/7 light work, so that I can show my children that, you know what? Yeah, this world matters. Our world matters. Our planet matters. The waters matter, like Master Jesus showed me the other day, that beautiful moment that he shared with me. We come from an infinite number of universes and vibrations, and we're all vessels of light. But in this experience of the soul contract that we take on the experience to be our highest and our best. And we know that as light workers, we come just to offer our light. We come to be the expression of love. But it doesn't mean that we have a whole bunch of stuff that we have to process, and it still hurts our hearts. And it takes a lot for us to then work our way right back up and say, be that unconditional lover, because you're just being so beaten up, so beaten up because of the early stories we come from. And then it just keeps attracting, because we're never taught and told to be self-directing, to say no, to have those respects and honor of your body, your heart, your mind, and your soul, and your spirit. And you do have free will, and you do have your human rights. We're never taught that. There are nowadays, children are taught those things nowadays. But even now, how can we create even a better socio-altruistic society where we're actually encouraging them to be their highest creative experience through the spiritual consciousness of who they are as dynamic rainbow crystalline children, and activate their DNA and activate all the wisdoms that they have within them, so that they have a far greater advancement than we ever had, that we're coming from. But it takes us going through those processes and those minutiae and those back and forth stories and saying, okay, there's the lines that are cut on those. I'm surrendering those. I'm giving myself permission to let that go. I understand the process of alchemy, of the acknowledgement and acceptance and allowance. And now I get to stand in my light and say, now for the next phase of my life, Spirit, this is what I want. And I'm making an order to the universe. I'm saying to the universe, I feel the vibration of wanting to receive pure and genuine soulmate love. And that's what I'm putting an order in for. And the spirit guides have been on it. Spirit guides and the universe and all the masters of light and the contact of those of the highest frequency and realm that are aligning those experiences for me and aligning my experiences to teach on a greater global scale and to put myself out there on a greater global scale and to co-create with people that are really interested in co-creating with high vibrational consciousness. Those are the people and connections I'm making, because I'm putting my order in, because I know my value, and I'm not going to get myself roped into and experiences where I'm allowing others to take advantage and have their stories mean more than mine. No, I'm going to read the fine print first. And I'm going to be saying no. My team said to me the other day, you're going to get real good at saying no. Because now I've learned my lessons, and they've been hard lessons, where people were sent to me to teach me those hard lessons. And I appreciate them for the soul lessons. But now I'm ready to be taken care of in a beautiful and genuine way. And I say taken care of as a sacred heart. Not that I don't need anybody taking care of me, because I'm a strong divine feminine. I mean, taking care of is that I take care of your heart. When we have a conversation, I take care of you and I honor what you say with me, and it's precious. You have that genuine care for one another at a soul level, and you're taking care of that energy. You're taking care of it. You're honoring. You're placing it as special and unique. And that's what taking care of one another is. That's a socio-altruistic society and community and collective. So that's what I want to start inspiring. How can you design your next phase of you, really reflecting and loving all of those experiences and sorting out what we call the mess and still owning and loving it all together? Because that mess is also part of that little girl that says, why was I so responsible for taking care of other people's mess? That wasn't my responsibility, so I'm going to heal that. It wasn't my job, but I took it on. So there's a lot of letting go and giving yourself permission to let go of all those stories so that you can really heal. And spend the time, 5 to 10 minutes a day, just sending yourself love. Visualize love going into the chakras. Visualize love going into those stories where you were taken advantage of, and that pain sits in your heart. For the experiences that were never resolved, for the experiences that were never validated. And just heal those. Spend 5 to 10 minutes and just continually healing that, because that's how you come up to that new place. Well, this is what I'm worthy of now, because I've worked on all of those aspects of me that I'm now ready for that vibrational love, and I'm not going to be projecting pain and projecting lack and projecting all of those old stories. I've healed them. So I know I'm projecting love and benevolence and abundance and, divine exploration for our collective, because that's where you got to work through that stuff. And Jesus says you still got to process it at mastery levels, because it still hurts your heart when people take advantage of you. But as he said, it's not up to them to love you the way that you want, because that's putting expectations on people that just sometimes can't and don't and won't. But that gives you the ability to say, just be unconditional love, but put your boundaries up. Put your boundaries on how much to give, who to give, and who to let in your sacred space. Because not everybody will be at your ability to respond in equal measure. And that's the level, when you're leveling up, you want that for yourself. You want that equal level of, I have a great capacity to experience energy at a multidimensional level. I want someone to meet me there, that also has that level of experience in energy and feels and connects with energy in that way, so that they can be rich with experience as well as me and match me. And so those are the things that's taken me quite a while to sort out and suss out. Because when you're in something that's not okay, you start sussing out, well, wow, this is what I really want now. And so being alone and having to cultivate yourself and nourish yourself. Thank you, little fluffies. Thank you, Spirit, with a little feather. Thank you. And so you're having to, kind of cultivate yourself and nourish yourself and say, this is what I want now. I'm going to design something different. And this is what I'm worthy of. This is what I know that I'm speaking it to Spirit, because Spirit is the omnipresent within and without. Spirit is the it. It's the allness. It's the you-ness. So what are you speaking out? How can you co-create it? What are you designing for yourself? How do you want to design what's going on within you? And visualize your cells being crystalline and clear. Bathe all that you are. Bathe all that you are with love and light and the beauty of your cells and the gorgeousness of your cells. Bathe it. Be the beauty of you. Be the benevolence of you. And start designing a new version of you from within and without. From the cells, from your heart, from the core of every chakra. Start bathing it with light and designing it brand new. So spend in that daily self-care. Once you've done your clearing, then you go into your self-design. And you start designing your chakras, and you start designing yourself from within. Take a breath. Calling in source light. Thank you, Spirit. I'm calling in my guides and I'm calling in my healing teams. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. We're going to do a channel. The Galactic Federation is waiting to come in. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. We're appreciating you talking about how you're co-creating yourself with Spirit, because it's so important now that you're all at a crucible of change. How can you wake up every day in excitement of what you can experience with Source and Spirit, what you can create for yourself upon earth, because you are all in a state of becoming that you've never been before. And so have that be really exciting. How can you perceive it as a really great experience? Because so many of you fall back into what is just natural, and those old patterns and those old habituations to go back to a frequency that just feels comfortable because it's what you've always known and done. But so many of you are here to kind of press the boundaries and to press the box, if you will, into something new, and to step out of the gate and design yourself anew. Step out of the gate and design your world anew. Take a deep breath and break open all energies that are holding you. Any densities, any thought forms, any belief patterns, any projections, any illusions. Bathe and cleanse, release all illusions. I give myself permission to release all illusions, all stories, all energies, all projections, all thought forms, anything that's being sent to me that is not divine and sacred within my expansiveness of who I am. I choose to release it now. I choose to release it now. I choose to release it now. I get to design myself within and without, and as above, so below, for I am that I am as my name is. And know as thy name is, as I speak it, as I speak it, as I speak it, I design myself anew. For I am the version of all that I am, and my consciousness is all that I am becoming. I get to choose. Body, mind, heart, spirit, and soul, the purity of who I am, the purity of who I am. That is intention. And you get to speak it. You get to be it. You get to experience it. You get to call it in. And then you just let go and ask Source to deliver it to you in whatever way Source wants to, because Source wants to delight you. Source wants you to be happy. Source wants you to receive. Make no mistake about it. You are meant to receive. That's your birthright. You are meant to create a beautiful life for yourself where you do get to receive. You do get to have balance. You do get to see there is learning in that receiving. So many of you, and they're just saying, yes, Joanna, you too. there is learning in that, because I'm one of the first people that as soon as I receive something, I want to give back. because that's that internal game that I've played since I was a child. Well, there must be something that I must do next. I must do next, because there was never any inner happiness within the experiences that I grew up within, because it was always outer, 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 having to fix and help and make sure everybody was okay. But now that it's time for me to receive, it's not like, hey, well, I'm worthy of receiving in a really big way, because not just a little way, I'm really ready to receive some really big receiving. I want to receive really big, you know. Come on, spirit, I'm ready. Mama wants a big life. I'm ready. You know, small and all this mysterious and magical things that I know spirit is in store for me. My teams are just ready to celebrate. Yes, you ready to receive, and not having to feel guilty, you know, for receiving. Yes, I am ready to receive today. I will receive today because I deserve it. And I'm going to honor myself in that receiving. And I'm going to allow others to give to me and provide to me. And I'm not going to be afraid to ask for what my needs are, because I do have that right, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and energetically, and etherically, in any way that I want to be. I have that right to speak for my body and my spirit, my evolution. And we want to emulate that to all the children, because they're here to break all the systems that we made in conformity that says that these stories of limited creativity and limited potentiality are all that we're able to potentiate. No, you start at infinite, and there you go. Off you go. Out you go. Go get creating. And so what the Galactic Federation was connecting with me. Shamar, Shamar from the collective of the Galactic Federation. Yes, dear. Thank you for the etheric chamber. And there's so many that are just sitting in the chambers, and I just see them in their celestial chairs, if you will. And they're these chairs that just come around like this, and they're all sitting there with their beautiful little, you know, gowns and their celestial wear on. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. And they're saying, this is Shamar from the Galactic Federation. Thank you. Yes, thank you. And we're all watching. And we allow ourselves to be so delighted, and so many of you working through your aspects of reflection on the many myriad of chapters of your life, if you will, and how you can review upon them and stretch them into something that's more grand. Isn't that what you all want? You want to see that this next phase of your life, this next chapter that you are writing for yourselves, can be more grand. And we've come to you in celebration and in excitement that we are all preparing for the harmonization within the galactic federations and the galactic families and bodies that many of you belong with, that you've been preparing Earth for so very long, and many of the lifetimes that you've been here. And oftentimes when you do awaken, you're remembering, as Joanna was experiencing yesterday, a very back and forth timeline experience where she was in just a really light state of musing, and she was seeing herself move back and forth from the myriad of timelines, remembering different celestial energies as she was connecting with somebody that was also very highly galactic and celestial. And she was sussing out whether that was her timeline or theirs, and it didn't really matter. She's getting herself used to the galactic harmonization that's going on for many of you. And many of you will have those experiences because you're allowing yourself to release the stories that held you in separation from your greater allness family. And you're allowing yourself to prepare yourselves in the way that you are able to upon Earth to familiarize yourself with these energies. That you have many celestial friends and family. They're always with you. And they're always cheering you on through your minutia of what is okay for you to now step into, and how you can lovingly release and appreciate all that you have been through and make new choices that are more exciting and more in alignment of your exploration of spirit, to be in a continual evolution and enjoyment and adventure of who you are as expanding divine humans. For you have come across many timelines, you've come across from many galaxies and many planets and many experiential bodies that you're here to now explore within. For don't you know that your bodies are constantly evolving? And do you not feel different from one day to the next as you're going through an evolutionary light cycle? Evolutionary life cycle is when your body is ready to take on greater light. And you can only take on greater light as you're working through the stories that have held you in a density where that light could not get through, because those limitations and those fears and those energies kept you held within a certain story of vibration. And then your body changes because you've chosen through the omnipresence of who you are in the dynamic being of free will to say, I choose differently for myself today, spirit. I choose differently today, and I choose to release what densifies me. I choose to create light. I choose to seek light. I choose to allow light. I choose to receive light. And in the receiving of light, you allow yourself to also awaken to those memories that are always deposited within and without, the held memories that you are awaiting to activate. For these memories are always within you, dear lighted ones. They never held outside of you. It's just a matter of divine timing when you're ready to move with them and experience them, as Joanna experienced yesterday in her day of counting. And we are allowing this celebration of this harmonization within the galactic communities that so many of you are preparing for in the ways that you have very odd and different experiences in your dreams, and you're feeling the celestial energies and the celestial beings in the bodies that are in and around you, the families that are constantly with you, but now you're sensing it and feeling it. For you're preparing yourselves in the small ways and the big ways for your odd and unexplainable experiences. That's normal. So be okay with that, dear ones. It's part of your growth into the fluidity and malleability of who you are as a multidimensional being. And we've come forward today to celebrate you and to congratulate you for your openness to become, your openness to seek, your openness to design adventure, to design creativity in all that you are, for you are an infinite creative being. And may you always remember that in all of your challenges, you have in all moments to create yourself anew and allow yourself to call in the appreciation of all lessons and how you have allowed one another to become your highest and best. For you are each reflecting to one another how you can become more loving, how you can become more accepting, how you can allow to look in one another's eyes and say, I am sorry and I forgive you and I forgive myself. We are one, we are brothers, and we are sisters. Hey, shishi ayama ayatake, sisi ayama ayatake, shishi ayataka, ma atatake, shishatataka, sisi ayama katatake, shishi ataka. Ayama katatake, shishi atataka, ma ayatake, shishi ataka. And so they're showing me, thank you, Spirit, thank you. There's two beings on a light ship, and they're just showing me one person, one being that is having a conversation with another being, and they're having communications back and forth, but one being was showing the other being that it was coming from a place of wanting to understand where they were coming from. And so they were saying, I'm sorry, I didn't understand you. Let me see if we can explain this. And they're using the telepathic energies between them to get to that common experience of what each one another is trying to accomplish. The common goal, the common thread, the common theme, the common minutia of working it all out so all parties are valued, so all parties are respected. And all of those moments of pain, all of those moments of less than and lack of, all those moments of stories where others were held in suppression in any way, that it can be released in forgiveness and through compassion, because we are all showing each other what we need to see, each and every one of us, whether we like it or not, whether we want to admit it or not. We are all showing each other what each of us needs to see into the open heart of love and compassion and our oneness. And we're learning that through the minutia, through the design, through the saying, this is what I'm worthy of. So this is what I'm worthy of. This is my new standard for me now. And so if there's going to be an exchange, then this is the standard on the exchange. And you get to set those standards for yourself. And then set those boundaries so that you're not constantly being depleted. You're not constantly being taken advantage of. And you get to sort out what's now your new story of design. And to have it be a great adventure. And to heal all those wounds within you and give that time back to yourself. And that love back to yourself so that you can remember what it's like to receive. That you can remember what it's like to actually have a birthright of receiving. Because life in and of itself is a natural flow of source. It's the natural element of who you are, a spirit emanating and radiating love and honoring and sacredness of all life, and have it return to you in the same kind. And that's how we all become a family of altruistic. And what I receive and what I give will be that natural element of how I will maintain that constant abundance, because it's from the heart. That's how we care for one another. And so they were saying this was the original channel that they just gave me before we just went through that channel again. Thank you, Spirit. I just see them in the in the etheric chamber. I'm going to see if there's anything more they'd like to say from the star councils. Thank you. Hi, Shishi. I'm Mamakatatakai. Oh, so those are those that, yes, those channels are for those that are really excited about first contact. So that's what this channel is about, the energy of this channel. Citizens of Earth, we beseech you, in our collaboration with many of the light councils and many of the Earth conduits, we are bringing many glad tidings for the preparations that are underway for galactic harmonization. And that's from Shamar. And the galactic harmonization is those, I have many of those imprints on my body. Every time I call in a soul aspect of me, I get these little galactic tattoos. And they're really, really cool. I sometimes draw them. There's one right there. And you can see there's lots of them all over the place. You can see all the imprints. And every time I call in the galactic imprint of who I am, I get those little tattoos, and that's part of my galactic harmonization, so that I'm preparing myself for the different vibrations and the different energies, because every celestial and ET comes with a different vibration. And so as a conduit and as a Christed vessel, I have those abilities to sense in the field. And I had a beautiful client last night, and he had a lot of celestial energy in his field, and we had to ground, and we really had to ground that energy because they were so excited to talk with him. So we had to do a lot of grounding and just clear the field so that we can get, you know, a harmonization of the ones that wanted to come forward first. But those types of energies that I've been seeing in my private sessions and the healing sessions is because we are preparing at that harmony collective level. And so when we do get together, we have our class tomorrow. Those that you want to join our class, our weekly World Ascension class, we're allowing our bodies and all that we are becoming, because remember, every day our bodies are preparing for greater light, and that greater light brings up those energies of fear. Where did we sit in passivity to be taken advantage of? Where do we sit in passivity not to understand our own discernment, what's right for me? Because as you go through great times of change, you'll have to stand in your power and say, no, I'm discerning what's right for me, regardless of what everybody else wants around you. We have to earn those experiences so that we do stand in our power, and we know who we're discerning with as energy. We're calling in the highest beings of light. We understand the vibration of who feels and what feels good for us. And that's just learning your own mastery with energy and how to communicate with energy so that you feel confident that you are absolutely ready for your team. And what they showed me a couple of years ago, thank you, Gerard, is just showing me, thank you, that many of us that are on timelines for first contact, because there's an infinite number of timelines that each of our souls are here to explore with source. And so for those of us, and I wrote a channel a long time ago, I think it's on Jamie's channel, Awakening Our Truth. Hi, Jamie, if you're watching, my brother of light. I think it was in a Star Council meeting, the Star Council channel that Jamie has on his channel a couple of years ago about the protocol for first contact. And there was a channel that Gerard gave me. Thank you, Gerard. And he was saying that there is a protocol for first contact, and the higher selves of each and every one of you are ensuring that that protocol will be met for each of you, so that you're not just willy-nilly going out in the desert and, you know, randomly meeting ETs and celestials. There is a protocol, you know, because you have to prepare yourself. It's a constant preparation. And those of us that are leaders and spiritual teachers and manifestors of higher vibrational collective environments, and, you know, aligning with the Christ consciousness and light programs, we're allowing ourselves to understand that it's not going to be a willy-nilly experience. There is an elegant design so that you are prepared in every way, and clearing out the fears and clearing out the timeline energies and clearing out the traumas, because they're directly related not only to this timeline, but other timelines. And so why we're practicing our psychic skills, our telepathic skills, practicing our discernment, practicing redesigning our life so that it's adventurous and you know, more outside the box, because we must be outside the box to sense and play with energies that we've never played with before, and also mirror that to one another in our human collective. How to create that oneness out of great trauma and challenge. How do we create forgiveness and come to a higher vibration of compromise so that all parties are respected? And so this is what they're showing me, the micro macro of why we go through what we go through and why we have the challenging paths that we do. Those of you that have had the most challenging paths, especially the children, will be those that will be on that higher vibrational galactic experience, because they'll be the ones that will be the most ambassadorial. They've had all of the experiences to work through the minutia of feeling the various energies and how to work through it at a very deep and psyche level. Why I went back a couple of years ago to go back to the page energy, and all of those that know the divination, the tarot system, you understand the page. I reached a certain level of evolution, and I took myself back to the page energy vibrational level to go and do more psyche more psyche trauma experiencing, calling in more karmic roles and calling in more karmic minutia, so that I could understand it at a deeper, wider level, at the human psyche level, within the multidimensional perspective, because that will be a part of the multidimensional and holistic healing that we'll have to all understand. We're not being served at the traditional level right now, because we are multidimensional spirits, and we'll need to have to heal those energies of trauma, because it's at a multidimensional frequency. And why I had to go through what I went through, and how it was very traumatizing for me, to be able to see and to feel what was going on. As an empath, I could feel it and see it at every level. And so it was very traumatic for me, and having to heal it from the inside out, and all of the teams and the councils that were with me in healing that. And so Gerard wants to come back in. We were talking about, what were we talking about, Gerard? Oh yeah, protocol. Thank you. Just tuning in with the Star Council. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you're all symbolizing to yourself the experience of adventure to explore who you are. For you're just remembering that you're already doing this in another vibration. So it's like they're just showing me the body is just playing catch up. They're showing me another version of me where I'm already an ambassador doing this on other frequencies. Thank you, Gerard. And so, but we're going back to the experience that Joanna stated a moment ago about being in an experience where she was seeing and feeling and experiencing different timelines all at once. And so that is the early stages of fifth dimensional transition, because you're understanding your allness and clearing out those momentary flashes of your own limitation and what's holding you back. What are those fear experiences that are holding you back in limiting your adventure experience with Source? Is it the fear of the unknown? Is it the fear of transitioning and thinking that anyone will be left behind, or you will be left behind? So what are those fears? Are you fearing that you will make a wrong choice? Are you fearing that you won't make a right choice? So just giving yourself time to review those, and why many of you are in suspension right now, because you're giving yourself those experiential moments of processing and reflection. Is there anything holding me back? What limitations can I call forward? Why would I leave myself in such passivity when others are co-creating, doing what they want, and yet I'm seemingly holding myself to a state of dormancy and inactivity, when I'm meant to be an absolute leader of energy and freedom and liberation, and help others heal all over the world? And so let's get busy. And so that is the redesign of your life, and being adventurous of this. And so many of you are allowing yourself to understand that you are preparing yourself at a multidimensional level experientially in your moments where you're having those loss of time and the acceleration of time. And Joanna was also talking about an Ascension symptom yesterday, where her body was increasingly getting hot without any activity. And so making sure that you're drinking lots of water and harmonizing the energy transitions that are going on within the cells. The cells require that water for you. And is there anything we wanted to say about protocol? And protocol, yes. And just understanding that the more in communion you are with your higher self and your guides and your teams, if first contact is exciting for you, sussing out where are you at in this process of alignment and harmonization for your own self. And just doing that daily self-care to work through any fears that you might have about harmonizing in oneness with your own self, with your collective, and why you go through the process of your healing your soul fragments and calling them in for wholeness, for that's where it begins. The more whole and accepting you are of yourself, and forgiving and loving you are of yourself, and accepting of all experiences, harmonizing within your all experiences, you're preparing yourself in every way for those greater moments of harmonization with your galactic families. And that protocol is in of that, your higher self and your teams are very, they take great guardianship of you. So just know that there, you don't have to have fear. And if you do have fear, then just sort that out with your teams, and then set in alignment. I want to suss out what is my protocol for first contact, and then begin to meditate on it, begin to receive the information, begin to journal it and channel it for yourself. What is your agreement and your protocol for first contact? Will it begin in a dream? Will I begin to feel beings in my home? So begin to feel into it. If you're excited to, it's always free will, of course. And you will receive these downloads in your dreams. You will receive these downloads in your meditations. You will receive these downloads in experiences like this that will start to prepare you and start to activate you with excitement. Well, where am I at on that? You know, am I going to see a light ship in the sky? Am I going to be excited to see light ships in the sky? What would happen if I saw a light ship in the sky? Start to suss out in greater adventure of who you are as a multidimensional being and what that means for you. And they're just showing me that I'm, thank you. So it's like what they're showing me and how I see it, just so that those of you that know or don't know, I have as a conduit and a consciousness of the Christ. It's like, they showed me this yesterday. It's like when you're looking through the mirror and there's image upon image upon image. That's what I see. But it's an imprint, not as a vision. The vision is just a knowing. And so it's not understood, and that's okay, because it's a multidimensional experience. It doesn't have to make sense. But this is what I see, a layer upon layer upon layer, and that's what I see as the Akashan timelines. So here I'm on a light ship, here I'm doing something with another ambassador, here I'm doing something, there I'm doing, and they're just different timelines. And it's like, you know, the mirror effect. You know, there's an infinite number of mirrors that go way back. And so that's what I see. It's all now. Remember, it's all now. And it's just an imprint of knowing. And then I process it through what I see, because the eyes are not really seeing it. The third eye is not really seeing it. It's a knowing. It's the consciousness of source that you just open up into. And so I'm just explaining that. I don't know why I had to explain that. And so we're going back to protocol. And so that protocol will allow you that safety. It's that inner safety to know that, yes, this is the first experience for humanity. And they're very excited to begin collaboration with many of the light councils and with many of your higher selves, that these experiences will begin to be a part of your everyday activity, of the minutia of your feeling different, and that malleability of having those moments throughout your day, those pockets of moments where those informational timelines are preparing you for how all you are. And those visions of you seeing yourself in other timelines and on a light ship right now that they were just showing me. And you're opening up into your allness. And therefore, it's really great for you to get centered and live from the heart presence of who you are, because then you're just allowing these minutiae and these malleabilities and these miraculous moments to just take place. And your body doesn't have to feel like it's catching up. It could just be in the presence of the experience and just allow it to occur, because Source knows and Spirit knows what it's doing. And your higher self will guide you. Practice grounding, of course, for those of you that are ready for first contact. And those of you that have already had such experiences of awkwardness and excitement and celestial dreams and feeling as if there's beings in your house and those types of experiences, then those of you that are ready to take it and feel it in a new way. So just be discerning and call in your teams and call in your higher self and say, what is my protocol? How can I anticipate this experience? I'm really excited about it. And it's not like you have to plan it out. Remember, it's an adventure of your presence in the moment. But just say, what is my specific protocol, so that I can gather greater discernment on the vibrations I'm sensing and I'm feeling. That's why we say that. Because it's important for you to all return to center, because this in and of itself is also preparing you for your outer socio-systems of transmutation and transitioning and transformation. Are you discerning the information that you're hearing and that you're sensing, and how much of it is true? How much of it is fear? How much of it is serving you? How much of it can you redirect and create something new? So this is why inner discernment and your self-direction and self-care are so important, so that you can be a greater self-directed sovereign being, where you are sussing and sensing out your life for you, what is right for you, how are you moving about your life, how can you be the highest version of you, and how can you co-create and show others the emulation of your adventuresome and your fanciful beingness of who you are in this now moment, and also have it be returned. Remember, so they're saying, thank you again. Boy, this is a big lesson for me this week. The Galactic Federation, they're saying they're so excited. I just feel so much excitement, and my heart just feels so happy, because part of my experience here on earth, and I've said this a couple of times, only a couple of times, is that those that have really showed me the care and the love and the honor to give to me, and to give to me in such an unconditional way, have always been my light ship teams. In one experience that I had at the pharmacy in Vancouver, when I passed out and I was on the floor, and the beings from Sirius came and they walked around me, because they have immediate access with me at all times. And so they came in to assist me and help me and be unconditionally giving to me and excited to help me in that receiving of healing. And situations like that have occurred throughout my life, with my beings and my light ships and the beings that are always with me. And they're also showing me that others of you have seen beings in your collective that you absolutely have a celestial connection with, and you just know it. Then you're passing someone on the street and you just have that vibratory connection. Those are some of those experiences where you each know each other from another realm of celestial energy, and you're connecting with one another at that cosmic quantum level. and they're going back to the receiving. Part of my experience has just been to have that unconditional love for my galactic and celestial families that have always been with me, and why it's always felt as a bit of an outsider here, because I've never felt that same level of unconditional receipt that I do from my celestial families and the ones that have been with me my whole life, in the various experiences that I've had. But they've always been with me. They've always been my constant friends, because it has been very lonely for me. And why I've taken that time to really be alone, because I want that experiential giving and receiving. And they're saying, going back to the receipt, that they are very excited to be a part of this giving to humanity. It's part of their souls. Thank you. I'm so honored to place those of you who want to receive this very special message, that they're very, very excited to give this as their gift to humanity. Those of us that are preparing for first contact and preparing for the connections with our celestial families or galactic families. And they get so much joy and unconditional love to be a part of that. Thank you. I'm so, that gratitude and that grace, that I'm so grateful. The elegance and the grace that they want to emulate and be there for us, and to be that giving. And they're so excited to gift that to humanity. I'm so grateful. Thank you, Spirit, and the Galactic Federation, and Shamar. Thank you, Shamar, for providing that to me. And we want to thank you for being so giving and so unconditional to us on the human experience, and those of us that are preparing ourselves for first contact. And we send you the equal gratitude, and we honor you so much. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you, Spirit. And we honor you too. And we're so celebrating your journeys and your expressions. So just be easy on yourselves and be easy on all others. You're going through so much transformation. Be loving and kind and compassionate to all. You are all in a story of oneness, showing each other you're deepening for love and compassion and oneness and unity. And we appreciate each and every one of you. So be easy on yourselves, be easy on one another's soul's paths, and just be the adventure of who you are becoming. And know that your teams and your guides and your higher selves are always with you. Call upon us at any time to assist you in your transformations, and call upon us. We're always offering you help and divine celebration for who you are becoming as the oneness of who you are. And we thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Spirit. Thank you. We're so excited. Oh, I feel so good. Thank you. And I know I can feel the beautiful, I can't explain how it feels. It just feels so, so loving. I've never experienced that on earth before. Just that unconditional oneness where they're just like family that you don't know or don't see all the time. And it's just an unconditional connection of love, and they're so happy to give it to us. It's like a beautiful gift. Like, we're so happy to help you with first contact. We're so happy to help you come into the family of the galactic communion and galactic, the Galactic Federation, and entering in these harmonizations of our galactic belonging and our becoming, because we're being reunited with our families, like going home for one of those family reunions. And I'm so happy that I'm able to bring that message through. So I appreciate all of you. Those of you that would like to join us for our class tomorrow, our weekly World Ascension class, the donate tab is below for our PayPal. It's a minimum of 22 USD. And then our full moon eclipse class will be on the 26th. For those of you that want to join us. And those are leadership, healing, and moon wisdom classes. And we thank you and we love you so much. Namaste, dear lighted ones. We love you. And rainbow laughs and rainbow tickles. Thank you. And don't forget to have a big adventure. Design yourself anew, and be okay with all the stories in between, because you're each showing one another the love and the capacity that each of you have to be one. And each of all of the expressions that have been challenging and harmful and dysfunctional, it's all an expression to show one another of our oneness and our care for one another at the highest levels. At the highest levels, we are all source. At the highest levels, we are all the higher self. So just honor all the expressions, and you get to choose how you design yourself anew. And then call in that discernment for how your first contact can feel. Tune into those beautiful, subtle moments. Turn off all the noise so that you can turn into those moments of those malleability, fluidity moments where you are harmonizing with your galactic energies and preparing yourself for first contact. So we love you, dear lighter ones. Bye. Rainbow tickle.